I've already done my homework. I haven't seen a great place like that since my childhood. I've just met your brother. He was in a hurry, so we didn't talk much. I've lived in Munich for 10 years. Almost all pre-intermediate and intermediate students struggle to understand the present perfect simple tense. And in this video, I'll try to explain it in the easiest way, so after watching this video, you will completely understand the present perfect simple. First, let's analyze the structure of present perfect sentence. We have three types of sentences. The first one is affirmative sentence. It's any sentence that is positive. And the structure of affirmative sentence is subject plus have plus verb plus object. For example, I have been there thrice. I is my subject here. Then we add have. Been is our verb and there is the object. And the next example is I've prepared a cake. Please remember that you can use only past participle verb in present perfect simple sentences. Past participle is a verb plus ed for regular verbs and the third form of the verb in the irregular verbs list. Then we have negative sentences, which usually contain words like no, not, never, or nothing. And the structure is subject plus have plus not plus verb plus object. For example, I haven't read that book, or I haven't seen your glasses. And the last one is a question sentence, which is used to ask a question and ends with a question mark. The structure is have plus subject plus verb plus object. Have you ever seen Eiffel Tower? How long have you worked in Google? As you see, in order to make a question sentence, we just invert subject and have. For example, you have been to London. It's our affirmative sentence. And after inverting, we have you been to London? She has eaten all of the pancakes, or has she eaten all of the pancakes? And one more thing, we use have with pronouns like I, you, we, they. But we use has with pronouns she, he, it. For example, I have texted him. We have texted him. You have texted him. They have texted him. But she has texted him. He has texted him. And it has bitten me. I use different example for it because, it has texted me is actually nonsense. Alright, let's start with the basics that you should know in order to use the present perfect simple properly. Use the present perfect simple to talk about experience. For example, I have eaten the best steak at that restaurant. This sentence indicates my experience of eating the best steak at some restaurant. Or, I haven't been to Tokyo. Although it's a negative sentence, it shows the lack of experience. So it still means that the sentence is about experience. And usually in order to talk about our experience, we use adverbs such as ever and never. Never is a negative form of ever. Correspondingly, we use never in negative sentences, but we use ever to make a present perfect question sentence. We use the structure have you ever to mean during your lifetime until now. For example, have you ever been to Madrid? It means have you once during your lifetime been to Madrid? Or have you ever tried a real Italian pizza? Have you ever seen a golden crown? And so on. We use never after have instead of not to tell that we haven't experienced something. For example, I've never tried a burger. Or I've never seen the movie you are talking about. Now a little bit about the spoken grammar. If someone asks a have you ever question and we haven't experienced it, we never say, no, I haven't. This is what you can see in books and tests, but in a real conversation, we just answer, no, never. For example, have you ever been to London? No, never. Have you ever tried tiramisu? No, never. Have you ever been to Paris? No, I haven't, which is incorrect. Don't say, no, I haven't. Just say, no, never. All right? And if you want to repeat the same have you ever question, don't say, no, never, but have you ever seen it? Just say, no, have you? For example, have you ever slept at the table? No, have you? Have you ever interviewed any celebrity? No, have you? And I also want you to remember that we never mention an exact time in present perfect simple sentence. For example, I have been to London in 2014. I've visited your brother last week. And I've been in Paris last month. No, 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 no. All of those sentences are completely incorrect. If you want to say an exact time, you must use past simple. For example, I was in London in 2014. I visited your brother last week. Or I was in Paris last month. Okay? However, last year and in the last year are very different in meaning. Last year refers to the exact time and it must be used with past simple. But in the last year means 365 days ago until now. So we can use in the last year in present perfect simple sentences. For example, I went to Berlin last year, but I have been to Berlin in the last year. The second usage of present perfect simple is about something that started in the past and continues in the present. In this case, we usually use prepositions since and for. For example, I have worked for this company since 2017. I have lived in Beijing for 6 years. I've learned cooking French and Italian dishes for 2 years. And I have taken IT courses since the last week. And remember, all of those sentences means that those actions still continue. I still work. I'm still in Beijing. I learned cooking new French and Italian dishes. And I do take IT courses. Those actions or activities aren't finished, okay? But if you want to describe something that started in the past and finished in the past, then you must use past simple. For example, he learned cooking. They graduated from the school. She stopped her acting career. All of those sentences describe completed actions in the past. I understand that it sometimes can be complicated to notice the difference between past simple and present perfect simple. So because of that, I'm going to give you some more examples and I'll explain it, right? But I want you to remember 3 basic meanings of the present perfect simple. So these are in exact time, something started in the past and continues in the present, and something that happened which has an influence on your present. Okay? So keep that in your mind, then everything is going to look easier. Let's look at some examples. I broke my phone, or I have broken my phone. Here, I broke my phone means that's it. It happened. But maybe I bought a new one or I repaired it. Anyway, I'm just trying to tell that the phone was broken. But when I say I've broken my phone, I say that I still don't have a phone. And if someone asks me to call him or her, I cannot. It's impossible, all right? Because I don't have one. So as you see, our sentence doesn't contain the exact time. It affects our present, because I cannot call anyone, and the state of not having a phone still continues, right? Something started in the past and still going on. Next one, I have lived in London and I lived in London. The first sentence shows that I'm still in London, but I lived in London means that I am not in London anymore. I live somewhere else, but it's not important. I haven't seen her for 3 years, or I didn't see her for 3 years. Here, I haven't seen means that the last time I saw her was 3 years ago. But I didn't see her for 3 years means last time I saw her before our last meeting was 3 years ago. The third usage is something which has happened very recently, and we often use the adverb just in this case, and we put it before the main verb, okay? For example, I've just opened the door. I have just opened the door, all right? Before the main verb. And it means I've opened the door maybe 5 or 10 or 15 minutes ago. Or I've just finished my dinner. It means I've finished eating several minutes ago. The fourth usage is an uncompleted action you expect to be finished. These are negative sentences and we often use the adverb yet in this case. Remember, you should put yet at the end of the sentence, okay? She hasn't done her homework yet. My brother hasn't tidied his room yet. Both sentences mean that I expect them to do something, but it hasn't been done for some reason. In spoken English, we sometimes answer using not yet, which means we expect something to do soon, but we haven't done it yet. For example, did you finish the book? Not yet. Have you paid him back? Not yet. And the last usage of the present perfect simple is something that happened before we expected it to happen. We often use already before the main verb or at the end of the sentence. For example, Catherine, you should find a job in New York before moving there. I've already passed the interview and I'm starting the next Monday. It means nobody expected Catherine to find a job that quick, but she has already done it. Or, Michael, you should wash your socks. I've already washed, Mom. English learners may also confuse present perfect simple with present perfect continuous. So we use both of them for actions, activities that started in the past and continue until now. Don't be confused because often they are interchangeable. For example, I've lived in Delhi for 5 years and I've been living in Delhi for 5 years. They both correct and mean the same thing. I hope you notice that I said they are often interchangeable, but not always. First of all, you cannot say something like, I have been loving her for 3 years. Or, I have been enjoying my life here since 1995. Because we never use state verbs with present perfect continuous. Actually, we never use state verbs with any continuous tenses. So the best option is present perfect simple if your verb is a state verb. And state verbs are like cost, love, enjoy, hate, like, to be, and so on. So those sentences that I mentioned should be like, I've loved her for 3 years. Or, I've enjoyed my life here since 1995. But it's better to use the present perfect continuous to emphasize that an action has continued for a long time, with verbs like stay, wait, run, sit, and so on. I've been waiting for her for over an hour. Or I've been standing in the line for half an hour. And finally, use present perfect continuous when you see, smell, hear, or feel the result of an action. For example, you see that your friend is sweating and has a short breath. In this case, you can ask, have you been running? So because you see the result of the action, okay? Or you smell smoke on your colleague. It means she has been smoking. Alright guys, I tried to explain present perfect simple today, and I really hope that you liked it and it helped you to get the idea of present simple eventually. If so, please check my other videos on different grammar topics, subscribe to my channel and hit that like button. And of course, I'm going to see you in the next one. Have a nice day. Bye bye.